Hi Capricorn, here is a general look at your solar chart for May 2016, and this is Diana reporting to you from a nice cozy little camper van parked somewhere in Europe. I'm going to start this off in a different kind of a way this month by speaking about Pluto in your sign before I get on to the more regular stuff for the month. It's quite important. It's a very long transit, and Pluto arrived in your sign in 2008 and will remain there until 2024. So as you can see, it's a very long transit, and it will be felt most when it comes nearest the degree of your sun, or indeed if you have another planet in Capricorn or an important point in Capricorn. But you can only know that bit if you know your natal chart, and you can find free resources for getting your natal chart online. The entrance of into Capricorn, of course, you early Capricorns would have felt it, so you've got it quite a way down the road now behind you. Currently, Pluto is nearest those, by degree, those born the 5th to the 9th of January, or with 16 to 18 degrees rising. That's this month. So every degree will feel this Pluto energy traveling through it, and it's about change and transformation. In fact, it's major evolution, and also the other cardinal signs, not just yours, that's Cancer, Aries and Libra, they're also feeling the power of Pluto coming across from your sign to theirs, and you're also feeling the power of Uranus coming across from Aries into your sign. So if you want to know some hints and sort of keywords to do with what Uranus is like, then you can listen to the beginning of the video for Aries, because I spoke about Uranus right at the beginning of the video. This transit of Pluto plus Uranus coming from the other side, and Uranus is influencing you Capricorns born the 9th to the 13th of January, or with 20 to 24 degrees rising at the moment, because it's picking up speed and it's now separating from Pluto. But for quite a while, both of them were at more or less the same degree. They came in and out over the last few years, and that would have meant that you guys would have had both at the same time, one in each ear. But now they're beginning, Uranus is beginning to just go ahead of Pluto, so you may be getting a nice kind of little beginning to get a sort of an intermission between the influence of each of them. You do have other great things going on, of course. You've got Jupiter in a really good angle to your sun sign this year, Capricorn. But just on the subject of Pluto, this is transformational change, and every Capricorn will know what it means to feel this deeper part of themselves demanding change. And it can feel like a discomfort with things that were comfortable before. People, places, jobs that were comfortable before just doesn't do it for you anymore. And further down the line, of course, once you've been through some of these changes, an acceptance that all creation evolves through a series of changes in order to be vital, healthy and successful. The kind of analogy of pruning back the rose bush really hard in order to get amazing blooms. There's a similarity there, I guess. Although Pluto does tend to go really right down further into the roots than just the branches. So it's like really deep stuff, historical stuff from the past that tends to have to be rooted out if it's been holding you back. So if Pluto is on the degree of your sun or ascendant, then some old patterns associated with them will be gradually broken down over this 2 to 3 year period. That Pluto will be near the degree of your sun or ascendant, or as I said, other planet. Pluto is the planet of breakdown and regeneration, you see, and structures around which you have built your life, some of which may have been imposed upon you from early childhood because they were examples given to you by teachers, parents and the like. These are familiar, and you're used to them, but over the next 2 to 3 years some will seem to become dried up, hollowed out or lifeless, or the basis on which you chose certain setups in your life, relationships and the like, many years previously will now seem to become irrelevant for some reason. And that's because you're evolving, you're advancing. Or you may see them as old and irrelevant or suffocating. Doesn't necessarily mean that they are, but as we evolve, as we become more aware, our perceptions change. The Pluto force gives huge drive and willpower. So there's nothing you won't be able to remove and regenerate. There's nothing much you won't be able to achieve. However, this force is only to be used to eliminate that which is truly outworn or irrelevant, and not just to boost your ego. In fact, Pluto doesn't deliver its full impact if it's just working on the level of the ego. The first step with Pluto is to become a seeker into yourself. And a lot of us aren't used to doing that. So who you are and what you need to express more honestly and authentically, and this more truthful version of yourself will gradually be uncovered during this transit. It's not to try to control or dominate others, but along the way you could be on the receiving end of somebody else's attempt to control and dominate you. There's often power struggles, powers of will, struggles of will going on in a Pluto transit, because in a way you're finding your own will and you're putting your foot down and you're saying no to certain things which you were used to from before, maybe. And others won't like you doing that, I guess. And then the next step is to allow this powerful force to bring to light aspects of your personality which have been swept under the carpet, and bring these aspects into your conscious mind and give them a place in your everyday life. The deep shifts which occur during this transit are profound and will set your life on a new path and give it a different quality, breaking down previous setups and letting go of relationships which stand in the way of your evolution is not easy peasy. It certainly is not. But you will, the more you understand what this deeper yearning and this pull, it's almost like a pull. It's like a tuggy string which is kind of pulling you towards a future that you, or a scenario, or a setup, or a scenario, or an environment that you logically, intellectually cannot divine, but it is like conjuring. It's like conjured, really. It's a bit difficult to find words for it. You have to trust it. You just have to trust it. And then, of course, you've got to get things changed around in the material world to sort of underpin it and support it, because the it is where your inner will is wanting to be, even though logically in your head you it's only in your subconscious, so you don't recognize it. It's, as I say, it's a bit difficult to understand, or indeed for me to find words to give you, but I reckon that you'll be getting the gist of it, especially if you've been through it or you're in it at the moment. But you can feel quite disorientated when you're in it, because certain things just don't fit anymore, and there will be moments when you feel kind of scattered, or directionless and unready to accept what your deeper instincts are telling you. And there'll be the inevitable questioning and emotional reactions in this time when you are more sensitive to your inner feelings and also to the behavior of others. I mean, it does really oversensitize you. Well, maybe it's just that it makes your sensitivities keener and nearer the surface. So trusting the universe as it steers you towards the renewed life you subconsciously have been seeking will help a great deal. So that is a kind of a little bit of advice about somebody that did go through the Pluto thing. And, you know, once experienced, never forgotten, but it will set your life on a very, very new track. it gives a different quality to your life, very much so, because you are not in some regard the person that you were before. So you are seeing your life differently, you're seeing the world differently, you're understanding it in a more insightful kind of a way. Right, well, for the rest of the stuff going on in May, it's actually quite nice, because May is when the sun is in another earth sign, which underpins your earth sign really well. So for most of the month we have the sun and Mercury and Venus in a sort of playful, sociable area, where you get more opportunity to enjoy what you're doing, or hang out with people that you value, or just do experiences that you value and that you get a kick out of, really, that you enjoy. And it can be creative as well, it can be enterprising, so you can get on with something which is, you know, creative and bringing out that inner child, maybe, in this fun kind of a way. Leisure activities, artistic activities, entertainment activities, hobbies, pastimes, etc. And then the sun and then Venus moves into a more working area from the 21st, that's when the sun moves, and then from the 24th, that's when Venus moves, meaning that you got to start working on the practical side of things and be more aware of maintenance, repairs, whether that's to do with the world outside of you, or with your own body, with your own physical, or somebody else's maybe, and getting organized, really, and managing things. Now, just to let you know that Mercury's going backwards until the 22nd, which means hold-ups, having to rethink plans, having to dot the I's and cross the T's, having to wait for something to come back to you, or maybe having to postpone certain things. And then Mars is also retrograde all month, which tends to blunt the sharp edge of Mars. And it might mean that if you've got to do something major, like throw down the gauntlet or do a major challenge or confrontation, that you have to be not going at it direct, full steam, but come at it round the back, or kind of, what I'm trying to say is obliquely, kind of indirectly, because this is not a time to launch a full frontal offensive in any way whenever Mars goes retrograde. So and a lot can be achieved strategically, really, and there can be small wins, but not like a major, as I say, a major attack. Now, Mars is actually in quite an inward and private area up until the 28th in the sign before yours, and that means preparation in the chrysalis, in the background, maybe even being in places that are like a chrysalis, or like a sort of like a little bubble of privacy with others, or maybe just on your own, you know. This is a time for nurture, for healing, for remedies and healing practices, spiritual practices, and selflessness, and being there as a support for another as well. This could come in more now that somebody else is needing to lean on you a little bit more. Good time for a routine checkup for yourself as well, because you know, you have the right to be the one who needs a little bit of extra support as well. And you will generally be in a more introspective mood. Imagination's working well, intuition's working very, very well. This is a great time, actually, for meditation and for linking with your higher knowing, your higher self, and your helpers and guides and angels beyond the veil. A very good time for that. And then right at the end of the month, Mars moves into a much more sociable area and will be in there for quite a while, and comes out of this introspective mood and changes, but more on that next month. And then we have Saturn in the sign before yours. Again, tying up loose ends from the past over this long transit. This transit will end at the end of 2017, so you are doing whatever you can to go through the archives, sort out the archives, sort out the records of your life, tie up loose ends, face up to behaviors and consequences of previous setups, maybe, understand more deeply your patterning, your psychology, your emotions, those knee-jerk responses. Try to get a little bit of space and objectivity there. And during this transit, you may be called upon to support or provide a service to others more, because it's more like a dutiful thing. It's more like an obligation. It's a bit like that. But again, it can be the other way around. Others called upon because there are certain, almost like karmic debts due. So that can be both ways round. And you Capricorns born the 2nd to the 6th of January, or with 12 to 16 degrees rising, going to feel that energy the most. And then Jupiter will be working happily out of its own house in your solar chart, which is the 9th. That's a very strong, good place for Jupiter to be. In fact, this is a great transit for you Capricorn people. It's very expansive. It'll help you to grow in your understanding. It'll help you to put the pieces of the puzzles together, giving you the broader view. If it's about yourself, picking up from the theme of where Saturn is, or maybe it's a little bit about that, maybe it's a little bit about other things as well, and other people, and what's been going on, and belief systems, and quite what's been going on there. Also connection, expanding and broadening your understanding with those at a distance, those abroad, travel as well. And this is a very, very good time for you to be getting educated, studying something, training in something, or indeed you being the teacher. So both ways round. This is a time when you could meet somebody who is a good teacher for you. But this is also a time when you could meet someone who finds you to be not just informative, but admires your wisdom, your slant on things, and your advice, your guidance, as well as you finding somebody whose advice and guidance you value. So this is a great vibration for that, and also for broadcasting something onto a wider stage as well, for getting involved in something bigger. Some of you would be interested in publishing, politics, legal issues, but anything to do with belief systems. So those ologies and isms. Capricorns born the 2nd to the 5th of January of 12 to 15 degrees rising will feel this energy the most this forecast period. Maybe just being more aware of what's going on in the outside world through the radio or over the net or through the television. And getting a little bit kind of involved in that, but learning from it as well, because of course what we hear through the media ain't necessarily so. Okay, and that's it for May. If you know your rising sign, your moon sign, listen to those. And also, if you want to check anything, this is written up on DianaGarland.com. And I'll see you the next time.